Naka-video ba yan?
To all of you.
Opo, sir.
Sige, sige.
Opo, sir.
Today, we are going to discuss about controlling. So first, what is the definition of controlling? Controlling refers to the process of ascertaining whether organizational objectives had been achieved. If not, why not, and determining what activities should then be taken to achieve objectives better in the future. Objectives and goals that are set at the planning stage are verified as to achievement or completion at any given point in the organizing and implementing stages. When expectations are not met at scheduled dates, corrective measures are usually undertaken. So, what is the importance of controlling? When controlling is properly implemented, it will help the organization achieve its goal in the most efficient and effective manner possible. Proper control measures minimize the ill effects of such negative occurrences, which is deviations, mistakes, and shortcomings. So there are steps in the control process. The control process consists of 4 steps, namely 1. Establishing performance objectives and standards. 2. Measuring actual performance. Number 3. Comparing actual performance to objectives and standards. And lastly, taking necessary action based on the results of the comparisons.
Types of control. Number 1, feed-forward control. It is sometimes called preliminary or preventive controls. Attempt to identify and prevent deviation in the standards before they occur. Feed-forward controls focus on human, material, and financial resources within the organization. Number 2, concurrent control. Concurrent control takes place while an activity is in progress. It involves the regulation of ongoing activities that are part of transformation process to ensure that they conform to organizational standards. Concurrent control is designed to ensure that employees' work activities produce the correct result. Number 3, feedback control. This type of control focuses on the outputs of organization after transformation is complete. Sometimes called post-action or output control, fulfills a number of important functions. For one thing, it often is used when feed-forward is concurrent controls are not feasible or are too costly. Sometimes, feedback is the only viable type of control available. Moreover, feedback has 2 advantages over feed-forward and concurrent control. First, feedback provides manager with meaningful information on how effective its planning effort was. If feedback indicates little variance between standard and actual performance, this evidence that planning was generally on target. Second, feedback controls can enhance employees' motivations.
Components of organizational control system. Organizational control is the process that managers and other leaders in an organization use to ensure the company reaches its goal. It involves creating rules, procedure, or best practices for an individual or department in an organization. These policies can help you direct the action of your team or other members of your company, which may increase the overall productivity of your company. Types of organization control. Output control. Output control is any measure of organization control that focuses on things that you can directly measure, such as the number of sales, the number of customer you may have, or how many hours you work. This type of control is specialized in the final product of results of an action. Some example of output control are sales quotas, potential customer, you contact in a specific time period, and the number of unused ingredients you have at the end of the week. Next is behavioral control. While output control relates to the result of a particular action, behavioral describe policies or a system that manage those actions. Behavioral control can provide instructions for how to perform specific tasks or detail guidelines and appropriate conduct in the workplace. Some example of behavioral control include dress codes, safety procedure, and attendance policies. Last but not the least is clan control. Clan control is an indirect form of control that uses shared expectations, values, and social norms to encourage people to work forward company's goals. This form of control often links to company culture and helps the organization reach its goals by motivating the people who work there. Policies that may influence clan control include company's retreat, group meetings, and company newsletters, and opportunities for people to give suggestions about the organization.
For the next part, we're going to talk about what makes an effective organizational control system. The first one we have focus. A quality control system specializes in improving one's particular aspect of a company's goal. If a system has a defined focus, it may help you to know what specific processes to include, which may increase the overall effectiveness of the system. Next one is the integration. Organizational control system usually functions best when they integrate well with other systems and policies that already existed within the organization. Integrated system can help you serve a unique purpose in your company without contradicting other firms of the organization's control that you already use. Next one is the acceptance. Any form of organizational control requires some degree of acceptance from all the members of the company or the organization. When people accept a control system, they are more likely to follow the policies, which can improve how well the system functions. Next is the information. Providing information about the control systems you use can help your team or the other members of the company understand the system, which can improve the chances that they follow the directions of the policies and they may increase the effectiveness of the system. Next is the feasibility. To make an effective form of organizational control, you need to think about the resources your company has to implement any policies or the system. Last one is the measurement. An effective quality control system has a specific criteria or a set of criteria that it can use to accurately measures your company progress. Measuring how well a policy or system helps your company achieve its goals can help you determine how well a specific form of control function. And it may also give you more data that you can use to create a new system. And then next reporter, please.
So we have the strategic control systems, financial analysis, financial ratio analysis, and identifying control problems. So first, we have the components of strategic control system. We have the financial analysis. So financial analysis, also referred as the financial statement analysis, accounting analysis, or analysis of finance. It refers to an assessment of the viability, stability, and profitability of a business, sub-business, or a project. Then we have the financial ratio analysis. These are mathematical comparison of financial statement accounts or categories. So these relationships between the financial statement accounts help investors, creditors, and internal company management to understand how well a business is performing and the area of need for improvement. So these ratios allows us to compare companies across industries, even if it is big and small. So, to identify their strengths and weaknesses. Then we have the four parts of financial ratios. We have first the liquidity ratio. These ratios assess the ability of a company to meet its current obligation. So first part of liquidity ratio, we have the current ratio. This shows the extent of which current assets of the company can cover its current liabilities. So the formula for computing the current ratio is, current ratio is equals to current assets divided by current liabilities. Next, we have the acid test ratio. So this is a measure of the firm's ability to pay off short-term obligation with the use of current assets and without relying on the sales of the investor. So to compute the asset test ratio, we have the current assets divided by inventories or current liabilities. Next, we have the efficiency ratio. So these ratios shows how effective a certain asset or liability are being used in the production of goods and services. So among the more among the efficiency ratios are we have the inventory over turnover ratio. So this ratio measures the number of times an inventory is turned over or sold each year. So the formula for this is inventory ratio um, is equals to cost of goods sold divided by inventory. Next, we have the fixed asset overturn. So this ratio is used to measure utilization of the company's investment in its fixed asset, such as plant and equipment. So the formula is for the fixed asset turnover is net sales divided by net fixed sales.
So, next is the financial leverage ratios. This is a group of ratios designed to assess the balance of financing obtained through debt and equity sources. Some of the more important leverage ratios are as follows. Debt to total asset ratio. This ratio shows how much the firm assets are financed by debt. For the formula, debt to total asset ratio is equals to total debt over total assets. Second is times interest earned ratio. This ratio measures the number of times that earnings before interest and taxes cover or exceed the company's interest expense. It may be computed by using the following formula. Times interest earned is equals to profit before plus interest ratio expense over interest expense. Next is the profitability ratios. These ratios measure how much operating income or net income a company is able to generate in relation to its assets, owner's equity, and sales. There are three types of profitability ratios. First is the profit margin ratio. This ratio compares the net profit to the level of sales. The formula used for this is profit margin ratio is equals to net profit over net sales. Second is return on assets ratio. This ratio shows how much income the company produces for every invented in assets. The formula used is return on asset ratios is equals to net income over assets. Third is return on equity ratio. This ratio measures the returns on the owner's investment. It may be arrived at by using the following formula. Return on equity ratio is equals to net income over equity. So, identifying control problems. So, how do we identify and control problems? First is executive reality check. Top managers periodically work at a lower level job to become more aware of operations. Next is comprehensive internal audit. An internal audit is one undertaken to determine the efficiency and effectivity of activities of the organization. It aims to detect dysfunctions in the organization before they bring bigger trouble to the management. So, we also need to have a general checklist of symptoms of inadequate control. So, what are the symptoms of inadequate control? First is unexplained decline in revenues and profits. Second, a degradation of service or customer complaints. Third is employees' dissatisfaction such as complaints, grievances, and turnovers. Fourth is cash shortages caused by bloated inventories or delinquent accounts receivable. Fifth is idle facilities or personnels. Sixth is disorganized operation like workflow bottlenecks and expensive paperworks. Seventh is excessive cost. And lastly, evidence of waste and if inefficiency. So, we must note that behind every symptom is a problem waiting to be solved. Unless this problem is clearly identified, no effective solution may be derived. Nevertheless, problems are easily recognized if adequate control measures are in place. Next reporter, please.
Executive reality check. Symptoms of inadequate control. Frontline employees commonly complain that management lays excessive expectation on them. For example, at one public institution, requests for textbooks and supplies are given the lowest priority. This is uncommon since considering that the institution is a school. Requests of this sort should be given priority. So, certain truths revealed to manager. Requests for classroom supplies are prioritized last in some state colleges and universities. This is unusual for educational organization, so this is unfavorable. CLSU requires managers to take at least one course each semester. This could be a good thing. And the engineer manager of a construction company could occasionally perform the duties of one of his employees. So this is fair. Next.
Control management is a procedure that keeps your project management on track while assisting your company in identifying faults and making proper corrections. Your company has a better chance of succeeding if it has control management in place. By identifying substantial variation from the original plan and highlighting them, an effective control management system encourages action and enables them to be corrected. Here are the general checklist of symptoms of inadequate control. First is an unexplained decline in revenues and profits. It is when the revenues and receivable profits has no proof or lack of records. Second is a degradation of service. It is when there's too many customer complaints about not being satisfied enough of the service or the product that the company offers. Third one is the employee dissatisfaction. It is when the employees become dissatisfied of how the company treat them. Or another example of this is when they complain about the benefits that they receive. Fourth is cash shortages caused by bloated inventories or delinquent accounts receivable. It happens when the warehouse are full of products that have not been sold yet and becomes waste. Fifth is idle facilities or personnel. When the employees or the personnel doesn't work and wasting time or doing something that is not related during their time in work or operations. The sixth is disorganized operations. It can be the effect by inactive staff or facilities. Seventh is excessive cost. When there is no control and lack of records in the expenses and the company pays like the power consumptions, taxes, and rentals. The last one is evidence of waste and efficiency. It is when there is too much defective products that are produced. It becomes a waste in time and raw materials that are used. Um, it is important to remember that every symptoms hide a problem that has to be fixed. However, if sufficient control mechanisms are in place, the problem can be easily detected
and a workable solution may be developed. Thank you, that's all.
Good day.
Yes?
Opo. Opo, sir.
Yan na
Opo sir, napasa na po.
saan yung
Sinend ko sa ano mo email mo sir, yung sa UE email. Ay, yung ano lang, yung video presentation na lang yun sir.
ilang pakisend mo nga send mo na ngayon.
Sa messenger sir.
Oo, kung kaya.
Sige po, wait lang sir.
Summarize na. Ah,
Sinend ko na sa messenger sir.
bali ito na yung huling last sa ano natin. Last na exam week ngayon lang natin. Ano ko muna PPT nandito na sa
Opo sir.
Three po, sir.
share ko lang. Review lang natin to, no? About control. Kapan di pag status. Yung alam mo yung kanan, kababa o hindi. Ito, the process of target. Pas ka doon, mark. Apat na para ma-check. I would like to put more uh, time and night dito. Types ng yung mga types dito. Forward, yung diretso lang. Masyadong flat. No? Pero yung current, talaga back ibig certain of output. Meron kang feedback mechanism, mechanism uh, ng mga kailangan lang and so tawag doon closed loop. Back ay lang yun yung all wait ko. Yung class, no? Even sa isang group and talk about always plan, organize, control. Yung And sa subject na managers learn to plan, fail to plan you ahead. Lagi kang may otherwise bad or unprepared task. Lagi kang may then lead, leader, ibig sabihin, pwedeng lahat. Plan, organize, organize, all meaning are trying to gain a certain level, dapat mong having consistency, ability. Merong deviation kasi wala naman if ito yung exam, no? Overall, maganda. Ito na lang yung grades, no?